Hello and welcome to this free mandolin lesson aimed at beginner and intermediate players, and over the course of the next 10-12 minutes or so we're going to learn Dirty Old Town by the Pogues, or originally written by Ewan MacColl, made famous by the Pogues, and we'll have something, chords and melody, that will sound a bit like this. Old town, dirty old town, 3, 4, 1, da, 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 da. Before I start, I should mention that everything we talk about in this lesson is included on a free PDF, which is linked in the video description below, so make sure you have that open so you don't have to learn any of this by ear. We'll start with the chords. They're relatively straightforward, but if you are a beginner player, there are only 4 chords needed for this tune: G, C, D and E minor. And I've included the shapes if you've never played them before. They are G, C, D, and the E minor I'm using is like a G. You just extend your index finger to catch an extra fret. So it's 0, 2, 2, 3. And then I've given you the chords in 2 formats. You've got them written above the lyrics, or you've got it in chart format. If you're reading the chart, for beginner players, it's a bass and a strum. So that sound, bass, strum, is equal to 1 letter in the chord chart. So for example, the last line, where it's got 4 Ds and then 4 E minors, is 1, 2 Ds, 3 Ds, 4 Ds, E minor, 2, 3, 4. If you're reading the lyrics, it obviously doesn't tell you how many of each, but you can sort of follow the lyrics and see where the chord changes on what word. Some people do it that way, everyone's different. So the first thing we're going to do is dive in and play it. Now, beginner players, have already mentioned your rhythm. So if I was to count it in, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Intermediate players, I want you to play a slightly harder rhythm. So the first half of the bar is still that, bass and strum, and then the second half of the bar, I want you to play, so down on the G string, up on the D string, then a strum, and then an up on the E string. Those 3 individual notes are only rough. If you catch 2 strings, it doesn't matter. If you catch the wrong string, it doesn't matter. You just want the general gist going across the strings with a strum as the third one. So if I just loop that pattern round, it's bass, strum, down, up, strum, up. This is just on a G chord. So that's your pattern. And that has to be on all the chords. That's for intermediate players. Beginner players, feel free to have a go at that, but the bass and strum is as solid as a rock in any format. So now you have the unfortunate task of listening to me sing and play it at the same time. Try and play the chords along with me. We're going to be about this speed. Okay, and it'll be after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Love by the gasworks wall. Here's the C, dream the dream by the old canal. I kiss my girl by the factory wall. Dirty old town is a D chord. Dirty old town. So there you go, simple as that. Nice 4 chords. Each verse is the same. So if you didn't catch that, just press pause and rewind and try those chords again. For everyone else, we're now going to move on to the melody. The great thing about this tune is that the melody is not like an improvised break, it's just a replication of what we just sang. So all the instruments play that melody, but on their respective instrument. So I have written it out just with no tremolo, with no trills in the PDF, and we're just going to play that now together. So I'm just going to dive straight in. If you don't know it, just have a quick pause and play through it. But the count's a little different. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And just watch out for how long each gap is. There's some long gaps in there which we're going to fill in a minute. But first of all, let's play the tune together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Again, if you didn't catch that, just hit rewind on this video and play through it again. But now what we can do is we can think about filling those gaps because there's some long notes in there. And on the mandolin, we only get a second or so of clean note and then it tails off. You know, violin players, they just keep that bow going and you get a nice even long note. Flute players, you just keep the air coming out of your lungs and you get a nice smooth note. We haven't got the same on the mandolin because we're hitting it with a binary plectrum. It's either on or off. We can't keep the plectrum touching and magically keep the note going. So that's where tremolo comes in. And this isn't going to be a tremolo episode. I've done other free lessons on tremolo. But if this is your first time trying tremolo, my only tip is to stay relaxed and don't try and play it as fast as possible. And let the mandolin do the work. You don't have to tremolo. It's not a machine gun. You don't have to tremolo a lot of notes. It can be a very few notes, and the softer you play it, the more it sounds like tremolo. So that's my only bit of advice for tremolo in this lesson, is to stay relaxed. So what we can do is we can play that same melody again, and all of the long notes, it's fairly obvious in this one what you would tremolo. It's all the long notes. And tremolo is up to you. So if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But I'm going to now play exactly the same melody, but this time with the tremolo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. 4, 1, 2. 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1, 2. Sounding pretty nice, very nice with tremolo. If you can stay relaxed, it's a lovely little melody. But there's another technique of filling those gaps that I like to do. And the first thing we need to do is add some double stops. Now, just like tremolo, I'm not going to turn this into a double stop lesson. So just take what I've written as read, and the lesson I did last month in April 2022 is all on double stops. So do hit that one. I'll link it in the video description below. But just read the tab as written. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. We're almost there. So we've got some double stops. Again, you don't have to play all of them, but I will be. And now we've got, again, big long gaps. And rather than filling it with tremolo, which is really hard with double stops, what we can do is essentially just keep our right hand tapping out eighth notes. So the first phrase would become this. So da 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 da, and pick strokes down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So alternate and the And it's very loose, you don't have to hit both notes, it's just... Just keeping the gap, the mandolin making fresh noise, because that's how we fill the gap. We can't fill it with constant contact like a violin, we just have to keep the noise, fresh noise coming out of the mandolin. So that's like the tremolo, which is really hard over 2 notes. It's a lot easier to lessen the number of notes and just fill it with 8th notes. So again, that's written out below. Let's have a play of it together, same counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. The only thing left to do for this lesson is to stick those 2 things together. So we've got our chords with someone singing, and then we've got our melody. And one of the hardest things on the mandolin to do is to go straight from the chords into the melody, because when you're playing chords, your wrist is nice and loose, and then all of a sudden you have to play nice and accurate. So this may take a few goes to get right, but it's worth it, because it's such a tricky skill, and one that you will need if you're ever going to think about jamming with other people. You need to be able to jump from chords to melody quite well. To help you out in this lesson, I will count you in between them, because the little pickup, the 3 pickup notes, falls under the E minor chords. And I've demonstrated that in the PDF, but I will count you in. So listen for me to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Da, da. And you can tap out of the chords a little early. You don't have to play all of the chords. If you wanted to stop, get yourself ready for the melody, and then come in at the right time, everyone in the session would rather that than you fit all the chords in and then come in at the wrong time for the melody. So whatever you need to do to start the melody in the right time is okay by me. I'm going to split screen this with a guitar, so it's like a jam session. The mandolin, I will play the chords and the melody, and the guitar will just play chords and I'll sing it with the guitar as well. So it's like a full jam session. So once through the verse, then once through the melody. Best of luck. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I met my love by the gasworks wall. Dreamed a dream by the old canal. I kissed my girl by the factory wall. Dirty old town. There you have it, that's all the elements to Dirty Old Town, written by Ewan MacColl originally but made famous by the Pogues. All that happens now is every verse is the same, it's all the same chords, and every melody is the same as well, so that's pretty much the whole song, just with different lyrics for the verse. I do hope you've enjoyed this lesson. It's been a whistle-stop tour around quite a lot of different mandolin techniques, but it's everything you need to play one song in full. We do these every month, so please hit subscribe while you're here and head over to mandomike.com for any more lessons you'd like to learn, and we'll see you next month.